All right, so what are the questions or topics that I think are critically important for the geographic information science community to address? Privacy. What's the problem? Well, there are a lot of problems, but one of the areas that we're very concerned with is this whole idea of pervasive location tracking. And as we heard from Sylvia, we are entering the sensor age. We're going to see sensors everywhere, sensors that hear, see, feel, smell, touch, and indeed, that's where we are headed. So we're going to have sensors attached to our body, passing through our body, that will be communicating with our cell phone, with our automobile, with our homes, and with where we work and play. Even they'll be interacting, of course, with the routes that we travel along. So that perhaps my wife at home now can turn to the Harlan channel on her television monitor and see, honey, you're traveling a little bit too fast for the road conditions. It's raining outside. And by the way, your daughter's been waiting for you for 12 minutes now on the corner in the rain. Dear, your blood pressure is raising a little bit too high there. And, oh, I see there's the pressure in your left rear tire is a little bit low, so you might want to check that out on the way home too, okay? So as I approach doors, they know who I am, so they unlock for me for whether my automobile or my house. Okay, so what's the vision for protecting personal information privacy in these pervasive tracking environments? It's not good right now. Okay, so some of the questions that we've been dealing with here at the university: how do we motivate businesses and governments to not retain personal travel data long after the purpose of the original service was satisfied? They're obviously doing this right now. How do we effectively place personal information control in the hands of those that are being tracked as opposed to corporations, governments, and others? Okay, so some of our research to date, we actually have concluded that legally and economically supportable approach, which is globally applicable, not just the US, but universally around the globe, supported through enabling technologies, achieving these objectives is possible, and perhaps it's even probable that we could achieve this, okay? So we've done some research, we've done some thesis topics on here at this university already. But of course, we need a lot of prototyping yet for the types of approaches that were already proposed, and every time you do something like this, it raises a whole range of other interesting research questions down the road. Another issue, intellectual property. What's the problem here? Technology has changed everything in this area, okay? In the past, in the paper world, we have what we would, or some commentators refer to as a freedom to use culture, right? There are lots of things you could do if you take somebody else's book and look at that particular material, all kinds of legal support for what you want to do with it. However, just by going into the internet environment, we are now moved to a permissions culture. And this is a culture dominated by lawyers. Now you need almost always permission to do something with the data of others or suffer the consequences or potential consequences. Copyright laws are failing to achieve their intended results in digital environments. They're no longer meeting their original purposes. Prior economic models based on protecting intellectual property are failing. Digital rights management systems have been rejected by consumers. And then again, we come out with a whole range of problems relative to IP. So how can we realign the global system for sharing geographic data and services? Again, one of the questions that we've been struggling with here. And I'll just take the example of Global Earth Observation System of Systems, because again, it's a group that I've been working with. This is, of course, a group of nations that have come together, 79 national governments and 56 international organizations that are trying to come up with a pooled resource for all the data of our nations. Well, it's primarily, at this point, it's the space agencies of the world, but it includes many others as well. Okay, what about the technical challenges? Nobody really sees much of a problem in being able to pool this. What about the legal, political, and bureaucratic challenges? Well, they're huge. It's a huge problem. Okay? Now, we've been making some recommendations. So we've actually, gone through this process. We're suggesting a commons licensing solution supported by enabling technologies. Again, it's not just a legal solution, but we also need enabling technologies that don't yet exist, that actually need to be developed. Plus, we're suggesting, because of different ideas and perspectives of different governments, we also need a global marketplace licensing model, again, supported by similar but different enabling technologies. Other issues: access to government spatial data. What's the problem, or what are the range of problems? Developing nations. Here we're considering looking at enabling use of spatial technologies for this other 90% of the world, the other 90% of the population of the world. Again, what's the problem, or what are the range of the problems? Natural capitalism and green economies. Here we're looking at use of geographic data in achieving sustainability objectives. Again, a whole nother range of problems that we confront here. And again, I'm typically talking about the legal, social, institutional, organizational, ethical types of problems, which are often the ones that people are most struggling with in these domains. Ethics-driven information systems design, participatory GIS and volunteer geographic data, again, ranges of problems. Well, all of these issues are of interest to me and the types of people that we've been working with over time. In many of these areas, it's not so much what's the solution, but it is defining what the problems are and asking the right questions. Because if you can actually get to the right questions, then you can actually start making some progress in addressing them. Solutions to most pressing societal problems are highly complex, period. Okay? There are no legal solutions, no technological solutions, no economic solutions, no political solutions, but rather comprehensive solutions require drawing knowledge advancements from multiple domains. You really have to be on the cusp of this intersection. Okay? Interdisciplinary research is absolutely key in this instance. Multiple research methodologies are typically required if, for instance, if you've been working with me in the past, you don't know necessarily what methodologies we'll be using because you first have to define the problem. So you can't kind of preset what we're going to be doing. So you need to suit the research methodologies to the questions that are actually being addressed. So we have myriad problems within our geographic information science, spatial information science domain that you or I might choose to address over the next several years of our lives, right? I put years of work, years of effort into these issues, and so I want them to matter, okay? Yes, you need a well-defined, achievable thesis topic. However, I would argue don't be afraid to address large societal challenges. One person really can make a difference, and your research contribution may be that link that allows all of us to take a significant jump forward. That's it.